Does it actually show? No, it doesn't show. Why would it show that we're live? Why would I be able to actually see?
But it takes a second.
Yeah, that fucking bullshit is what it is.
Oh, wait,
In this day and age of the internet, it shouldn't take any time at all.
I agree. Oh, fuck. Oh, now we're live.
Checks should go through automatically.
I agree. Okay. I'm gonna click the record button.
There we go. Wait, no, son of a bitch.
Click live in the bottom left corner.
I keep trying. It doesn't let me.
I had to reload the page too.
I did reload the page, and then it shows live now, but when I click it, I don't... It's fucking bullshit is what it is. It's fucking bullshit.
Figure your shit out yet?
Did
you figure your shit out yet?
No, it's all fucked up.
All right. Do you require it to be not fucked up? Do you want me to wait till you unfuck it up?
I would like to be there for the chat if the chat was available. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, we'll see if anyone even shows up. No one likes this.
It's a Monday. We don't usually record on Mondays.
Oh, fuck that too. My days are all fucked up. I'm on my Wednesday of my 5-day weekend. Welcome to episode 98 of the Podcast and Error production of the Galactic Network. I'm your host, Matt Stein. With me, as always, is Corey. I work in IT, but I don't know how to refresh a web page. Scott, Corey, how are you?
I keep hitting the button, and it just doesn't do anything. I also tried to do the same thing for my armpits.
What?
No, I don't know.
You don't use deodorant? You just push the refresh button on your armpit?
Refresh every day.
Refresh.
Renews it.
Oh, that's a good one. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, subscription links, you can go to gncast.com/pot. I always get foamy mouth talking right in the corners.
Talk so fast.
That's because I hate reading things and I hate saying things that are mundane and kind of like where people can easily get lost. So I try and speed through it.
Well, switch it up. Do it as a limerick.
Not today. Like 575. This could take a long time. You can check out the Center Slack channel at our gncast.com/sign up. We sometimes do that during shows, but no one loves us. While you're there, you can subscribe to our newsletter as well. This week, we're going to talk about Salem's Lot a little later. Or as I like to call it, Salem's Plop. I actually didn't think it was that bad, but I thought that was a funny little doohickey. Before we go ahead and start talking about our news, hey, Corey, what you drinking?
I made a special drink yesterday when I thought we were recording, and then we didn't.
That's my fault.
So I had to make another one today. It's not really your fault. You told me I'm just terrible at remembering shit.
I just assumed you'd remember.
Yeah, you put way too much hope on me. I am drinking what I like to call a Temerity Tang because you have to name shit, especially after yourself. And it is a very simple recipe. It is orange sherbet mixed with Mountain Dew. Done up like a little bit of... It started out as a root beer float, but then I mix it all together and it becomes more like a milkshake. It's terrific.
And then you add the semen of a virile boy.
That's implied.
To give it that little extra nighttime zip.
Little wang to your tang?
A little wang to my tang. Yeah, so as Corey mentioned, we were supposed to record yesterday. I forgot to remind him I was out in Minnesota at a music festival in a parking lot. And every year, never fails, I never put on sunscreen. Now, I'm going to see if I can do this without hurting myself, Corey. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fucking bright red shoulder.
So, like a month ago, I got all sunburned when I went and I played croquet that one day, as you recall. Yeah, for my friend's birthday. I'm pretty sure we talked about this. I was all burnt red and shit. Yeah. I'm still peeling on my arms. There's still like just a total bit of just skin rash. I look fantastic. Like, if there's not enough reasons to avoid the fat, sweaty, hairy man. Have him standing there with skin flaking off at you like some a
little bit of Corey jerky.
Yeah,
could be worse.
Tasty.
Yeah, I walked outside and the sun hit my shirt, which then heated up my skin, which burnt. I just can't win. I'm not smart. Wow, Tang. I got something special, other than a hair in my nose that's tickling right now. I actually found it earlier today. It's Stone Brewing's Woot Stout. It's actually called a Stone Farking Wheaton. Some collaboration beer that they did with Will Wheaton, Greg Koch. I assume that's not how you say his name, but I'm calling him Koch anyways. And Drew Curtis. It's an imperial stout, brewed with pecans, wheat, and rye, and then 1/4 was aged in bourbon barrels. So we'll probably be drunk in 10 minutes.
Pecans, actually, that sounds delightful.
There's the board more often with nuts. When I was at the store today, those guys telling me about how they have a beer that was made with real peanuts instead of fake peanut butter flavor. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like, well, all right.
Seem very impressed with yourselves.
We finally used the real thing instead of just the flavor of the thing.
It's a beer you can throw at small kids and watch them implode because they're all allergic to it now.
Well, so is my wife. She looks like a little kid, though, so I guess it works.
What?
Have you ever seen a picture of my wife? She looks
not
very,
in a way that I predicted that she was a child.
No. She's been carded for rated R movies, and she's like 6 months younger than me. Yeah,
that's okay. That's actually that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, it'll come in handy with her alabaster skin and her ability to look 14 well into her 30s.
It'll come in handy for you to just spend a lot of nights in prison.
After the third time I had to explain to the police that my wife was not 14, it got a little old.
You are in Wisconsin. It seems like it's not really that big of a deal out there.
I wouldn't know.
It's 15 below and everybody needs something to cuddle.
That's true. If it's warm and wet, you put your dick in it.
I've ruined a lot of good stews that way.
Oh, I guess we should talk about news instead of never mind. One more quick story. So yesterday, I went to Warped Tour with Brad, who did our logo and is our Stratosphere sponsor, and then my friend Dan, who's the drummer for Reaping Asmodee, and his girlfriend. And I think we were all in a car for a matter of 5 minutes, and we were talking about each other's buttholes. Yep. I feel like we tell you about talking about my friend's buttholes.
It doesn't seem dissimilar from the conversations that you and I had with Travis when we
not at all.
In the city.
Yeah, not at all. Apparently, when you hang out with me, you go 0 to butthole real fast.
I'm still wondering if he made that omelet for his girlfriend.
I don't know. I texted him and he did not respond. He's busy with doing a new band or something, or taking dog pictures. Life of a rock star.
Go inside.
Let's do some fucking news. David Cronenberg's novel Consumed is going to be developed as a TV series by Dave Erickson. Fuck you, Siri. Sorry, bitch. Shut up, bitch. Sorry, I just got in an argument with my phone.
It's not like either of you can really win in that situation.
No, keep beeping and.
The TV series is being developed by Fear the Walking Dead's Dave Erickson and Lucifer's Sherry Elwood at AMC, which makes sense because they're the ones who do Fear the Walking Dead, and no one really wants to take credit for Lucifer.
Why does what is Lucifer? Why does it sound familiar?
Lucifer is a Fox series based off of I think it's Mike Carey's Vertigo series for DC Comics. It was a character that started out in Neil Gaiman's Sandman and then got his own spin-off series for a number of years, and then they turned it into a procedural on Fox. It's not a bad show at all. It's reasonably enjoyable. The lead is very good in the part, and it's all fine, but it is like, God damn it, it's another fucking procedural. This is not that. Oh wait, maybe it sort of is. So Erickson and Elwood will pen the adaptation and showrun. Consumed is described as a mind-bending psychological thriller that follows two journalists who set out to solve the cannibalistic murder of a controversial Parisian philosopher. The book was published in 2014 by Charles Schreiber's Sons. They will executive produce with Cronenberg, who may also direct. Cronenberg's longtime collaborator Robert Lantos of Serendipity Point, which produced Eastern Promises, will also executive produce. So yeah, you were worried when you heard the title that it was another goddamn zombie thing.
Yeah.
And I can absolutely see why, and that would not be great. Although Cronenberg doing it would at least be interesting. Cronenberg brings a lot of cool stuff to the table, so to speak, as I talk about cannibalism. But at least it's something else. I don't know then if it's a mini series or if it's something that can really continue on past the first season. If they solve it, like, I don't know.
Much like Prison Break, they got out of the prison after the first season, yet there's 5 more seasons.
Yeah, god damn. That was
can always find a way to keep it going.
That was rough.
I know. Yeah. I gave up halfway through the latest season. I don't even know if
I didn't even come back for it. I couldn't even do it. I could not feign an interest. And I really liked Prison Break for the first season and a half. But it was that second half that first half of that season that I was just like, God damn, this is. Are they? Do we just get a win now? Do they go back? There's no prison. There's no prison anymore, and the tattoos make no sense. So we were just. It seemed like a lot of effort to just crawl through a shithole. It could have been done by now.
Did you watch? Were you into 24 ever?
No, I never really caught it.
Because I never watched 24, but I watched Prison Break, and I know a lot of people who watch 24, but not Prison Break.
Yeah, if I want, who's leading 24?
I want to say Kevin Bacon, but it's not Kevin Bacon.
It's not Kevin Bacon. It's Kiefer Sutherland. If I want Kiefer Sutherland to whisper at me all intently, I'll just hang out in men's restrooms at bars.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Neither does he. That's why he's so intense.
Well, he's got plenty of money from the fucking 24.
Yeah, he's a very cool guy. Actually, I've always liked him.
Oh,
I like his dad. I like Donald Sutherland.
Who the hell's that?
Kiefer's dad.
Well, I gathered.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I never knew that was his dad.
Animal House. Yeah, Donald Sutherland, badass. How did you miss that?
Because I'm not very perceptive.
That's okay. We forgive you.
Wait. Kiefer Sutherland has a rabbit?
I really don't even know what that story is supposed to lead to. Is it a vibrator?
Yeah. No. Sorry. Kiefer Sutherland with Rockin' Rabbit. Oh, it's like a stuffed rabbit. Here, I thought he was a real man. He had like a pet rabbit.
No, he went over to the set of Greg the Bunny when it was on Fox as well, and he stole it away. And Seth Green's been pissed off at him ever since.
Wow.
Sarah Silverman shouldn't give a shit, but hey, so Cronenberg TV series. That's weird.
Ain't that weird? Do you want to keep talking about this or not?
No, we can move along.
I really don't have much to say. Todd McFarlane has announced a partnership with Blumhouse to produce an R-rated Spawn movie, which I got like half chub for, because I remember being really excited for the original when I was a kid, and it just being like kind of shitty. So I'm hoping that an R-rated remake would be chest X.
So I saved my wife's life last night because in the midst of thinking that we were going to be recording the show, I was in my office.
You going to remind me one more time about our poor communication skills?
Yeah, that's fine. You owe me. But I walk out of my office and she's cooking, and we had made fajitas on Friday night, chicken fajitas.
Ooh.
Fajitas.
10,000 chicken fajitas.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, fajitas, that's great. I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, so did you go buy more chicken? She said, no. I said, well, I used the last of the chicken that I had bought on Friday earlier today when I made teriyaki chicken and rice. So whatever you're cooking with is going to kill you because we did not buy chicken since that point, and the last time we'd had it was like a week or so before. So she had cooked an entire thing of chicken that was very old. And was in the midst of, like, she had tortillas down, she had sour cream on them, she was just about to plate and eat. So it's good that I walked out of here when I did. The reason I'm telling you that is because what it meant was that I had to go buy my wife Olive Garden and bring it home for her.
How did we get from a Spawn remake to Olive Garden?
Because when I was at the Olive Garden,
there's still more. Okay.
I was wearing a Justice League t-shirt, and the guy that I was picking up the food from commented on the shirt, and we started talking about movies, and we started talking about Spawn, the Spawn movie and everything. We got a little bit into comic book news and everything. I said, yeah, well, Todd McFarlane has a new Spawn movie coming out from Blumhouse. And he was like, that's amazing. And he said he had just recently rewatched the 90s Spawn. And as bad as he remembers it being then, he's like, it's really not that bad now when you go back and rewatch it. Compared to what you think of what a shit pilot was, it's okay. And I think it's because we've had so many different superhero movies since that time, and they all should be much better than they were in the 90s, and some of them really aren't.
Yeah. I remember renting Spawn on pay-per-view and, like, sitting down as a child. I don't know what year Spawn even came out. Spawn.
Oh God, it was 96, maybe 95?
97. So
97.
I'm roughly 12 years old, and I remember, like, making a nice dinner for myself to sit down and watch Spawn.
Was it fajitas?
It was not fajitas. It was goose breast, because I had murdered a goose recently with a gun. I shot it. It's a little goosey body.
I'm both terribly impressed that you cooked goose for yourself at 12, and even more impressed that it's something that you killed to cook. That's amazing. I don't have that in me. My mom's a hunter, and I respect the hell out of her for it, even though it's not something that I would ever want to do, let alone would I ever have the skill to do it. But it does, as much as I'm like animal lover and bleeding heart liberal, I do appreciate the fact that people who are going to kill and prepare their own food, that's a skill set.
I haven't goose hunted in a long time. I purely went to spend time with my grandpa, and when he got too old to walk into because you like go into alfalfa fields and sit in a blind. When he got too old to do that, I stopped going, and now I certainly want to go again. But and I also want to go deer hunting now because they just fucking sit in my backyard. But I would never hunt and kill anything without the purpose of eating it.
Yeah, and that's completely correct. I don't like the idea of hunting for sport, killing for sport. None of that stuff is cool unless it's man. But if you do hunt, then you have to then eat the animal. You have to use that stuff. You have to make sure it gets used. You don't want to just do it because, hey, I got to kill something. What fun. I'm just a psycho. Just work your way down the line.
Ashley in our chat asked if I had to clean the goose, and yes. I think the first year I went like 4 years. And the first year, my grandpa did not make me carry the dead goose. The second year, he made me carry the goose, which is a very uncomfortable situation because when you pick it up by its head, the neck stretches out and you can feel it. So I got creeped out by that. And then the third and fourth year, I had to clean them, which is fucking terrible. Because you got to pluck all the feathers and then you got to like cut it apart, which, yeah. She mentioned she cleaned a deer, and I totally want to go deer hunting, but it's like once I kill it, I don't know how to clean it. So I'd have to call someone over to clean my deer.
My mom, when she got her first deer, brought it home and wanted to do it all herself. So she gets it home, and this is before she was with my stepfather, who she definitely hunted with later on. She hangs it up in the garage. Now I am a teenager and I'm freaked out by this whole thing. I did volunteer to go help her, and she was really impressed that I would do that because, again, I ain't the one. But she wound up bringing it inside and carving it at our kitchen table,
Oof.
our dining room table, which, again, not even remotely close to okay with me. But I supported her, and she did everything the first time herself, and then she knew that that was a one-time deal and it was never going to happen again. You leave it to the professionals. But it was very impressive. It was one of those things that I respect the hell out of her for all of that. But no. Anyways,
So
speaking of things that are disgusting, so McFarlane has been talking for a long time about wanting to do a new Spawn, which is weird because the Spawn HBO series, the animated series, was actually quite good, and I don't know that it was necessary to fix anything. The 90s movie, I can see, okay, yeah, we did that, and it wasn't really what I wanted, so I'd like to go back and fix it. But the Spawn TV series was actually great. But he's like, I want this to happen. It only costs like $1 million. I've got a script written. He's been promising it for years. The one big holdup is that he wanted to direct it, and he couldn't get people at Hollywood to let him have that kind of power. Blumhouse were like, yeah, we got you. We're all for it. You know, and Blumhouse, that makes sense because of the kind of films that they make and where they came from, that they would be the ones to say, sure, let's do this. Let's just throw money at it like Netflix does. Like, just throw money at a filmmaker and let them make their series or make the movie, and we'll just bookend it and distribute it, and that's fine. So it's great that this is finally happening for him. It'll just be interesting because he's not really directed anything other than music videos before for like Pearl Jam and Korn and Disturbed, you know, all relevant bands today. So it's been a while anyways, and he hasn't really drawn Spawn in a long time. I don't think he's written Spawn in a long time. He's mostly running his business. He's making toys. He's still very successful, and he's still doing stuff with Image, but you don't see him do a lot of the creative stuff anymore. And I don't know how much of it is that he's just been pouring into this and waiting for this to happen. But good, you know, Bloom has had hits with Get Out and Split and Insidious recently. They're all big things for them. This could be the next big thing from them.
Hopefully. I guess we'll find out. I mean, I feel like a properly done Spawn could be really good, but doing a properly done Spawn at this point in the game may not make a fucking difference because of the oversaturation of superhero and comic book movies.
There's a lot of superhero movies or comic movies is one thing. Comics can really run such a large path through the genre that there's so many different things they could be. But superhero movies, things with capes, things with powers, that's very specific. And when they were talking about Doctor Strange coming out, Doctor Strange, we were led to believe at one point, one of the rumors was that it was going to be a horror movie itself, and then it really was nothing like that. It was just basically like Iron Man with magic, which is fine. It was a good movie. It was fun, but it wasn't anything special. The New Mutants movie that's supposed to be coming out from Fox, the spinoff from their X-Men stuff, is again being talked about as being a horror movie with mutants in it. I'm just waiting to see what's going to actually do that. This could be the real, like, no, this is a horror movie. It's dark and gnarly and gritty, according to McFarlane's own words. Which, yeah, I mean, that's suitable towards Spawn. It certainly is the right character to use if you want to do that. We'll just have to see what he can do. Because I liked Spawn in the 90s. I enjoyed the comic. I enjoyed the people that were in the first movie. I like John Leguizamo, so him playing the clown was seemingly a right choice until you saw it up on screen and you went, oh, this is not fantastic. But on paper, it made sense.
The only thing I remember is his line about when he sang his name and he calls himself the Vibrator, because I was 12. So, I mean, I still think it's funny, but I thought it was funnier then. I feel like
Leguizamo is normally funny.
Something we should mention real quick, because you said the 90s. You were on 90s percentile this week,
I was.
which came out
I
today. If you're watching this, yesterday. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, and it was fucking great. I listened to it while driving home. Very proud of you.
thank you. Well, I mean, it's hard not to have a great show with Jack and Dan at the wheel.
And just 5 solid minutes of comparing all the things that we've stolen with them.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
I should say.
Absolutely a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I regretted not making the joke that I was going to steal that episode's guest for our next episode, since it was me.
Oh, fuck. I forgot you were going to do that. Son of a bitch.
I have such a great time listening to them as a fan. And I know that they're friends and I should be over it by now, but I'm really not. They're just
the same exact way.
They're a blast.
And Jack has a potty mouth.
Yeah, Jack, well, he's not the only one. It's just that he got singled out by my poor father, who's listening to this in the car with me. And it's like, why are you playing this? This guy just says fuck all the time. I'm like, yeah.
Which is funny because I assumed when that conversation started that it was going to be me that he said swears too much. But
yeah, and it could have been on a normal day.
That's true. I guess when it's Jack and I swear less.
You have a tendency to let Jack take the wheel.
Jackie, take the wheel.
All right. So Spawn, Bloomhouse.
No, let's just talk about Jack and Dan for the next 40 minutes.
We absolutely could.
The podcast of Jack and Dan.
That would be such a better show.
That'd be weird and uncomfortable.
Speaking of weird and uncomfortable shows, The Walking Dead is getting a Robot Chicken special. Do you feel like Robot Chicken is one of those things that maybe has already lived too long?
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know it was still on.
I don't know if it is either. It may be that they just do specials every now and again, because I remember a couple years ago they did the DC Superheroes Justice League one. But I anytime I put it on, it seems like it's the same first 3 seasons of it that's playing, and I only put it on because it's playing in between episodes that I want to see of Rick and Morty or Venture Brothers or whatever. I loved Robot Chicken in the first season, maybe the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, it was definitely funny at first.
And then it just seemed like it hit the simplest of jokes. It kind of it's kind of like Family Guy. Like Family Guy used to be super funny, and then at some point they just gave up, and there was that time period of like, but I'm still watching it because it used to be really funny, and it could be really funny again. And then once in a while you see this little flicker of genius, and then it just goes away really fast. And then of course you don't like The Walking Dead, and I'm way over The Walking Dead.
Yep.
But at least it's not like they're doing something that's been done over and over again already. Like,
no, they kind of started the oversaturation, I guess. The oversaturation of I almost said scarecrows. Oversaturation of zombies in media.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If you like The Walking Dead, you'll probably enjoy the jokes that are in jokes for people who are fans. If you like Robot Chicken, well, you get more Robot Chicken. And there's certainly something to be said for the fact that they have put a lot in the show, and it has been at times very funny. It's just, I don't know. For me, it's a little bit more of the same, but I'm not their audience anymore, and I realize that. But if you are,
yeah,
rock on. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, if you can still make a TV show like that, more power to you. You know what I mean? That's like The Simpsons and Family Guy still being shows, and there clearly is still an audience, which is why those shows still exist. And yes, I don't care for either of them as much as I once did. Good for them. You know, they get to do what they love to do, and I talk to like 6 people on the internet once a week.
Yeah, and I certainly don't begrudge Seth Green or Breckenmeyer or any of the people that are involved in either of these shows, really.
Right.
Their successes. It's not like I'm just down on them because they sold out. Because they rocked too hard and they got too close to the sun. No, they're absolutely talented people and people that I like and admire and respect. I'm not as into the shows anymore, but I might check it out if it's on. You know, just like, hey, I'll see what it is, and See if we can have a whole joke about like Glenn's dead. Oh no, Glenn's alive again. Oh no, Glenn's dead again. Oh no, Glenn's alive again. Because I feel like that could be funny.
See, I just watch Live PD now.
Yeah.
If you are not familiar with Live PD, get learned.
I have not watched it. You and my friend Cal are the only people I know who watch it, but like you guys are really into it.
Well, it's fun. I love Cops. Live PD
And
is Cops, but NFL Red Zone style.
I can't watch either of those things.
Why not?
Well, for one, I was almost a cop.
Really?
Two, a lot of the people on Cops, it hits a little close to home because I'm from Michigan. Three, just in general, I don't like to watch things that are based around the lowest common denominator. That's why I don't like Howard Stern, because I just don't want to watch celebrating the stupidest of stupid. And I feel sort of like that's what Cops does.
But this makes me feel better about my own life. That's why I watch Teen Mom.
Yeah, and again, I'm not judging you for liking those things.
I think you're judging me.
I get where you're coming. No, it's just
I can see it in your judgy eyes.
No, that's first of all, I'd be judging you with my penis because that's the one you can't measure
when
again.
You stand up and drop trout. That's when I know shit's got it getting real.
Just throw it down like the fucking obelisk at the beginning of 2010 or 2001.
Oh,
no,
Jesus.
I just it's not for me, but I get why it's for you. One of my best friends.
Are you calling me white trash right now?
A little bit, but he watches that fucking trash television. He watches the Kardashians, or maybe I don't know.
I don't watch that.
But he definitely watched Jersey Shore and all the real world stuff, and he loves watching the things because it lets him turn off his brain. He's an engineer, super intelligent guy, and this is how he's able to relax. And it doesn't relax me because I'm too into the fact of like, this is all fake and these people are driving me up the fucking wall. And because I worked retail for a long time, it's like I already have to deal with enough people's bullshit. His job is different, his viewpoint is different, and he gets something different from those shows. It's fine. I get it.
Teen Mom to me is like a car accident.
I've already said before that, 16 and Pregnant isn't my show. I'm looking for 15 and Slutty. I want the precursor to 16 and Pregnant.
Oh man, I don't even know what to say to that. I feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I was always a fan of. I was always a fan of My Super Sweet 16. Kind of like Teen Mom. It's like, well, you're upset because your dad didn't buy you a car.
Yeah.
There's actually, I think it's Aziz Ansari does a skit about it, where he's talking about how they have 16 and pregnant, and then My Super Sweet 16, and he's like, this girl's complaining because she didn't get a car, and he goes, the people on the street are living in a car. And then he made a joke about how Exhibit should show up at the end of 16 and pregnant and like raise the baby as their own. And be like, go back to being a teenager.
I heard you like babies, so I put a baby in your baby. Oh, never mind.
I spilled beer all over me.
Wasn't there a Sweet 16, one of those things where they did like a horror movie out of it?
The Super Sweet 16, they did a horror movie? Like a
I want to say that they did like a movie of, or maybe it was like, yeah, I thought it was, they took the premise of the show and then they did a horror movie. MTV did it. That just kind of like was the fictionalized version, like the show's not already fake. But I thought that they did. I could be off. Maybe I just thought it was a horror story, trying to watch it once. But I watched Big Brother. That's just it. I'm not throwing aspersions at anybody because I watched Big Brother.
There's a movie called My Super Psycho Sweet 16.
Yes, that's it.
But I think that's just a shitty movie. I don't think it's anything. Oh, no, never mind. Wow. Network. It was an MTV movie. Wow.
We have to do that for the show when we come back.
Oh, we really have to? Yeah.
You're the one who likes the show.
I know. But
like
I don't
telling you that there's a sequel to Santa's Sleigh and you're going, but do we have to watch it?
There's 3 of them.
Oh shit.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, we gotta watch them in order. Otherwise, how am I gonna keep up with the intricate plot?
Not gonna know who fucked whose boyfriend.
Everybody fucked everybody's boyfriend.
Oh, we gotta do this last news story and then we gotta talk about the movie, because in the movie everyone's trying to fuck everybody.
Oh yeah.
Everybody fuck everybody. The last news story we have: American McGee is doing a Kickstarter for a card game called Out of the Hoods.
That
Uh,
is it Woods or Hoods?
Well, it's Woods, but Hoods.
Oh, okay. You're emphasizing the wrong letter. It confused me because I thought it was like Leprechaun in the Hood, except with American Gee, and
Well, that might be an expansion to the game.
that should be an expansion.
It's actually a coming of age tale about a young Ku Klux Klan member who wants to get out of the hood
and into your Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It writes itself. And also gets its own government cheese. American McGee, for those who don't know, American McGee did a couple of video games based off of a very dark Alice in Wonderland. American McGee's Alice and Alice Madness Returns. Had a very cool stylized look to it, was extremely 90s, was straight up above the Vampire Slayer. In fact, I think Sarah Michelle Gellar or maybe Elijah Dushku, somebody from Buffy, was supposed to play Alice in a movie based off of a video game that just never happened. I don't know American McGee from anything else other than those two video games, but when you saw the name up at the opening of the game, it's like, wow, this guy's got to be big because this game looks so kick-ass. And it was a first-person, not exactly shooter, because she's running around with a knife and she's going through Wonderland and the creepily dark version of it. But it was really cool. It was one of those things that it was probably more enjoyable to watch someone else play than to play yourself, because I don't remember the gameplay being fantastic. But that's it. He's just a game designer.
Did you ever play it?
I absolutely played the first one. It probably ran like shit because I think I had an old 386 or something that I was playing it on, or maybe not quite that. Maybe it was a Pentium of some sort, Pentium 2. But as I up systems down the years, I don't know that I ever picked it up again. I wonder if it's available through Steam.
I don't know. I'll check real quick.
But this is not a video game, which is kind of both disappointing and okay, I guess. It's a card game with the basic concept of Red Riding Hood, with players competing against each other to be the first one out of the woods, and the last player left in the forest will be eaten by wolves. It's also from a book that was written in collaboration with R.J. Berg, the writer behind the Alice series. So the stories featured Bluebeard, Cinderella, Rapunzel, Jack and the Beanstalk, Three Little Pigs, Red Riding Hood, Little Mermaid, Snow White, Hansel and Gretel, and the Pied Piper, and one to grow on. It looks good. It's the same kind of visual feel that you'd expect from American McGee, and from the kind of stylized thing that if you played the games before, you could enjoy it. Sometimes we like to bring you Kickstarters because they've got a time limit. This one has got 24 days to go as of this recording, so by the time this comes out tomorrow, 23 days. Still have plenty of time to get in on it. It is not funded yet. The goal is $175,000, but it has broken past the $100,000 mark. Mm-hmm. So it seems likely that this could happen. And with the name cred, I could think that would be easy enough for them to do. So if you back it now, there still seems to be a little bit of pledge $25 or more, you get the game deck. $55 or more, you get the illustrated book. If you want the game and the book, it's $75. And then there's bundles beyond that for the higher end stuff, going up to $5,000 for the Royal Collector bundle. But every once in a while, they open up some extra things once they get past the initial funding mark.
Yeah, it goes until Friday, August 18th at 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time.
It's suitably creepy. It certainly fits themes what we've seen from this guy before. And if you like collectible card games or illustrated art books about horrific fairy tales, then this could be for you.
Yeah, the packaging is actually super badass looking. And I may buy it just for the packaging because I know I'll probably never play it.
Yeah, I've got friends that we do game nights and stuff, and I would bring this to it, and it would be something we play probably a few times at least. But it's rare that we get the chance to do that. And the illustrated book seems probably, to me, the cooler part of it. But who knows? Depends on what you're into.
I'm impressed that someone has paid the $5,000 for the Royal Collector bundle too. By the way,
yeah, I mean, if you're a fan and if you got the cash, wish I had the cash.
Yeah,
that's
if I had the cash, I would do something else with it.
Yeah, that's true. I might create my own game. Do something with Levi.
I don't know. I'd probably take out like $1,000 in singles and then just like slap my wife with it.
Because you don't get her dirty enough as it is, you want to hit her with really rancid, crappy money?
Yep.
Idea. Yep. Why don't you just take your credit card and slide it down her butt like a reader?
She might try to hit me.
Yeah.
Actually, I know she wouldn't try. She would succeed in hitting me.
Yeah, but it'd be like getting hit by a small child, according to you. So
it's true. She's small, but she's scrappy.
She's wiry.
Yeah. She knows how to fuck shit up.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
This movie could have been half as long. Probably still just as good.
Let's go back. Salem's Lot is based off of a Stephen King novel from, I want to say, 1975, maybe. I don't know. And they did a TV miniseries, which is basically they played it in 2 parts over 2 nights in 1979 on CBS. It has David Soul, who people would know from the original Starsky and Hutch, James Mason as Richard Straker, Bonnie Bedelia is in it. That surprised the hell out of me. I haven't seen a lot of her since Die Hard, but she is quite the babe in this. Julie Cobb as Bonnie Boom Boom Sawyer. A lot of really good character actors in this. Every time someone showed up on the screen, I'm like, holy shit, it's that guy. Oh, it's the flying fat man from Dune. Oh, it's Fred Willard from Fernwood Tonight. Just a hugely talented cast in a over 3-hour movie. If you're not watching it split between 2 nights, that it sort of becomes torturous because it's just too fucking long in one sitting.
Yeah, I don't feel like there was any reason for it to be this long. There was a lot of moments in which nothing was happening, and yeah, they're just fucking talking. Everyone's banging each other's girlfriends and wives and shit. That's like literally all I remember.
And that's one of the more interesting things is at the beginning. Bonnie Sawyer and her husband, he does delivery stuff. Cully Sawyer, he does delivery stuff. He does like odd jobs and everything. She comes home from work where she works for Fred Willard's character, Larry Crockett. I guess Tubbs wasn't available because this is 1979 and Tubbs is black. So
too soon, man. Too soon.
Yeah, too soon for Miami Vice. So they're married and everything, but she's having an affair with her boss. And she knows that her husband is going out of town to do this pickup and delivery of something. So he's going to be gone all night. So she invites her boss over to have sex in her marital bed because that's a turn on for her.
Seems legit.
Yeah. But her husband sends somebody else to go get the thing because he knows she's having an affair. So he comes in with a shotgun, catches them in the act.
That was an uncomfortable little scene.
That was a very uncomfortable scene. So he takes Fred Willard out in the living room and has him hold the gun up to his face. They did a movie of this in Europe that they actually released in theaters. It was shorter and had some different scenes and some different takes. So in the actual movie, they had Fred Willard put the gun in his mouth. But it's still, he doesn't actually kill him. But that was like this one scene that, okay, so all of this is going on with people in the town. They have their own lives, but they don't really do anything with it after that.
Nope.
It just sort of disappears.
Yeah, you could have taken out all of the horse shit involving them and their lives and them trying to fuck each other and just gotten straight to the vampires.
Yeah, by the way,
fine.
It's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
But it's not just a vampire movie, because James Mason is, first of all, it's kind of like a little bit of a Needful Things. He's in this town. He's in this old haunted house that David Soul comes into town and wants to write a story about. David Soul is a writer in this. Goddamn, a writer in a Stephen King story? You don't fucking say. He comes in. He's drawn back to this house that's in the town that he grew up in because he says it's evil and it draws evil to it. James Mason's character lives in it right now, is waiting for his partner, quote unquote partner, to show up. And they've opened an antique store, which is straight out of Needful Things. There's just so many things. And I don't know a lot about Stephen King's work, but it seems like most of what I know about Stephen King's work is the same shit keeps happening over and over again. Even the part where the two guys are going to get the package for Straker reminded me of the scene from Creepshow where they have the big crate and the evil monkey thing comes out and starts killing people and dragging them back in the crate, and the guy cleans up all the blood so he can get his wife to come over there because he wants his wife to get killed by it. He wants to get rid of her. Have you ever seen Creepshow?
I haven't.
Oh man, I'm totally underselling Creepshow. It is such a damn good movie, and it's Stephen King and
I actually just
Romero.
I thought Creepshow is what you called your penis.
Sometimes that's closer to a Dune worm.
I just imagine that you walk into your bedroom at night and you're like, "Hey, you want to see my creep show?"
I say it just like that with the 1-2 emphasis.
Creep show.
Yeah. You're making me
horny. Do you pick lint out of your belly button while you do it too?
With the penis, yeah. It just reaches up there like an elephant.
How big is your dick that you can de-lint your belly button with it?
The question is, how big is my belly button that it can fit the whole dick? That's the question.
You just turned my whole rolled upside down face.
Yep. What else? Okay, so if there had been more scenes like the cheating wife, husband, boss trio, I would have enjoyed this movie more. Because there's stuff like that. There's stuff with the kids who are doing a play, and
also fucking pointless.
All pointless. And that's the problem, is that there's all of these great character setups and great character actors in this that you think, okay, we're getting something that is full and robust and well-rounded because we have 3 hours to play with. But then they don't follow up on any of it. It's just all of a sudden Mason's partner comes into town, and the kids start disappearing and turning into vampires, and then turning other people into vampires, and so on and so forth and so forth. And we lose all track of story beyond the vampire story. And that's disappointing because all the rest of it seemed like it was relatively interesting and could have at least made it feel like a fuller movie that made sense. Otherwise, it's a 3-hour movie that could have been an hour and a half.
Not only, I meant to say this and you just kept talking, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but when they showed the kids as vampires with the makeup and stuff, I thought it was actually really well done, and it was successfully creepy looking. So you have like 2 minutes of something really fucking cool, and then you go back to 40 minutes of hot dog shit.
Yeah.
Pointless story, and it was like, it's really hard to maintain an erection when you keep taking it away.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain an erection when you're 46. But that scene you're talking about, the first time that the kid comes up to his brother's window and he's scraping at the window from outside, and they're not using wires, they used a crane essentially to get the kid up there, so it looks very, for the effects of what their time were, that was the best way to make it look realistic and scary.
Mm-hmm.
That is the scene that I remember as I was a kid seeing this on TV and getting freaked out. And I never got to see the rest of the movie. Now, I probably just fell asleep because it's boring as shit otherwise. But that one scene has stuck with me for my entire, 40 years since. Is like, I remember that, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this is the scariest movie ever. It's not. It's unfortunately not the scariest movie ever.
No, but
the vampire becomes a ripoff of Nosferatu because they didn't want to do a Bela Lugosi-ish vampire, which makes sense, but they didn't bring us anything new either.
Right.
And at most it becomes like okay, the whole town fills up with vampires. The themes were all right. This is actually directed by Toby Hooper, which for I mean, that seems impressive. Impressive that get Toby Hooper to do this movie made for TV after doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The person who I think produced it was also kind of a fan of oh shit, the guy who did the Shining. God, why can't I think of his name? I don't really like him, but
fuck, I can't think of his name either. He did
Eyes Wide Shut and everything else.
I don't
Carrie will probably tell us.
Yeah, I don't want to Google it, but
we'll just call him Phil. So Phil Collins,
Stanley
who
Kubrick.
directed Shining, yeah, Kubrick.
Yep. Sorry.
Because two of the people in this, he brings those two actors in because they were a couple in a Kubrick movie. So, which is also kind of weird because we know that Stephen King didn't really like Kubrick's take on The Shining. But true. Stephen King really liked this. Even the changes that they had to do to get it away from the book and the stuff they had to do for TV, he didn't mind it. This was, to him, one of the better versions of a Stephen King film. At that point in time, there hadn't been a lot of them, but it was. I think it still stood up for a long period of time as one of his more favored adaptations of his work. And it's not that it's a bad movie per se. It's a 1979 film. We're a little bit more in tune with stuff from today. It's super long. If you treated it like an event, if you saw it in that time period, if you saw that over the 2 nights and you're watching it on TV, you would be really impressed that they did this for TV.
And that's the other thing you got to keep in mind is everything Stephen King had that was adapted for TV is 3+ hours. But I don't think it was made with the intent to sit down and watch it in one sitting.
Yeah, but we expect people to sit down and listen to a Matt Vincent episode of our show.
Whatever. I'm drunk halfway through, so I don't care what happens at that point.
It's true. And it's usually enjoyable because you're drunk. It's a lot of fun for me. just trying to keep us all in line.
Corey's still trying to line up that interventionist.
I gave up. I'm pretty sure if I called in a professional, he would just slap me and walk away.
Why?
Because it's like, why did you even waste my time? They don't want to change. Look at these guys.
I'd like my time back, sir.
I'm never gonna get that 3 hours of my life back, and now I gotta fucking watch Twilight.
We still gotta do that someday.
Speaking of Twilight, this is still a better love story than the Sawyers are a better love story.
Has 400% more rape references than Twilight.
So I just want to mention this real fast because I wasn't there for a lot of it, but in the midst of trying to save my wife's life yesterday, did you say
save your wife's wife?
Yes.
What the hell you got going on over there in that tiny little house?
She's got to get satisfaction from somewhere. Also, I'm sick of cleaning.
Does your wife's wife wear the accommodator?
No, she wears the instigator.
Do you know what the accommodator is?
Shit. I know what the accommodator is. I unfortunately know what the accommodator is, not what the accommodator can do. So, in the midst of my wife cooking dinner that was going to poison her and me stopping her from doing that, she had turned on to my Plex to watch Salem's Lot. She accidentally, without paying attention, had started the sequel, Return to Salem's Lot, that was on TV in 1987.
I did not know that there was a sequel.
There is a sequel. It has nothing to do with this movie. It does have the dude from The Stuff in it. But the sequel, I don't know if it was necessarily made for television because the sequel definitely has swearing and definitely has nudity. So right off the bat, and I think it's also shorter, wins over this movie in those 3 categories. But is not good. It's filmed in such a way that it looks akin to watching an episode of Goosebumps.
Yeah, I used to love that show. Calm down.
Yeah, I know. Or Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's pretty.
I love that show too.
Yep.
If it's hot garbage shit TV, chances are I watch it.
Yeah. But this is not that movie. This is this movie. And in all respects, I can't point at it and say that there were a lot of bad things about it. It sort of reminds me a little bit of, because of the town the way that it is, it reminds me a little bit of Twin Peaks, because it's that town where it seems like everything should be okay and everybody gets along, but then there's this undercurrent of darkness to it, and then it starts peering out and becoming more prevalent in the town. But in this case, it's all brought back to vampires. But the vampires are only a part of it because Ben Mears, the main character, comes back to the town because the house itself, he says, draws the evil. In this case, the evil that it drew is this pair of vampires. But in other times, it was something else. And I think in that regard, Salem's Lot could be very interesting. They didn't do that for the follow-up. The follow-up is Towns Full of Vampires. They probably could have done more, but I guess they were trying to establish that it's a continuation from this. This is one of those things where you could do a Halloween 3 and it would be okay. It's like you keep coming back, but it's the town that's cursed, and it's the different curses that you see. Another thing about this movie is that a lot of things have stolen from it. Respectfully, Fright Night, which was an 80s vampire movie, very popular one, and it had a remake not too long ago. That was actually pretty good. Fright Night steals a lot from this movie. The house, the way that it looks and is set up, is similar to Fright Night. The scene of the guy getting impaled on the deer horns, they did in Lost Boys. Lost Boys takes a lot from this movie as well. The floating kid outside the window, taken from Lost Boys. A lot of those things to Salem's Lot. And it makes sense when you watch it. It's just, but that's part of the problem of seeing it in 2017, is if you've seen these other things, you're going to see the references and think about those other more relevant movies to your own life than something that took place this long ago. It's the John Carter of Mars effect of, you can't do a John Carter movie now because everything that made John Carter great has been ripped off by other movies, and you saw those other movies first, and now John Carter looks like it's copying them even though it was the original.
Yeah, it's like a fucked up catch-22 when stuff like that happens, though.
Yeah, and at least this got made, and at least it is beloved. There's a DVD or a Blu-ray that's just coming out that I think has this and 3 other Stephen King horror movies on it. And I expect that there might be some references to this maybe in The Dark Tower, since they're referencing so many other things. I also saw that Christine was referenced in the Ready Player One movie. They show Christine, they show Freddy Krueger, and they show the Iron Giant.
Watched that Ready Player One trailer and proceeded to masturbate for 45 minutes.
So 9 times?
Well, you got that refractory period.
Yeah.
So
9 times and 20 naps.
I took 27 35-second naps. Any more? Not enough. Any less? Not enough.
It takes me that long to set up my breathing machine. Never get old and fat. Well, I'm talking to you. Never get old.
Well on my way to both of those. As I drink another beer.
Man, I wanted to enjoy this movie.
Yeah, me too.
More.
Me too.
There's so many great little things that are a part of this that it deserves to be, and people like this movie.
This is not the first time you've seen this, correct?
No, it is the first time that I've seen the whole thing, and it's the first time I've seen any of it since 1979. Okay.
So this is the first time I've watched this movie.
Yeah. And it's just too long.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's way too long. When a movie is so long that I have to plan my day around watching it, like, you need to calm your tits, Stephen King. But to his defense, as I mentioned earlier, all of his stuff was that long. You know, The Langoliers is 3 hours. The Stand is 6 hours. Those are both great movies.
But did this start that? Is it because Stephen King is such a big writer, because all this stuff is super long? They're not short books, or is it because, you know, The Shining comes out and this comes out and they're like, yeah, we are making Stephen King epic film, and it's like, well, maybe treat it like a good film. They changed enough from the book that they knew the cuts and things that they had to make, and they did release this as a shorter film in Europe. So there's the opportunity for that, but how much did they cut out, and what parts did they cut out, and did it make it better or did it make it worse?
Right.
I guess the fact that we don't see that version very often means that people expect that this was the better one. I don't know that it was.
There's just so much there's so much unneeded backstory.
It's season 2 of Twin Peaks. It's like
I never got to start season 2.
Season 2's tough. Jack was very kind to it when we talked about it.
Yeah.
But there's so many things. Season 2 is all about the different characters in the town, because they reveal the killer very early on in the second season. They were forced to by ABC, essentially, by the broadcast company. Mm-hmm. And so once they do that, they didn't have a story that they could instantly jump into. So it's a lot of side stories about characters like James, and nobody likes James, and Donna, or about Lucy and Andy, the deputy, and the girl who works at the sheriff's station. It's all these other characters who get their stories, which is all cool in the background of the story of who killed Laura Palmer. But when there's not that giant mystery, it's harder to feign interest in the bullshit rhetoric of these other people's lives. And that's why at the beginning of this, the bullshit rhetoric of these people I thought was cool, because it's a sidestep from the stuff with the vampire story. But then it goes just purely vampire story, and the vampire story goes too long. If it was a mix of things, then I would at least have like back and forth.
Yeah.
So this would actually make a really good like 10 episode series for Stranger Things type of thing on Netflix, more than it does as a 2-night opus on a broadcast thing on TV.
I wonder if they'll take this and make it into a 6 or 8 episode TV show.
Well, they did a remake of this with Rob Lowe, because Rob Lowe started doing a bunch of Stephen King.
Oh, ABC yeah. Stuff. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they did a remake of this, and I think it was also a 2-night event. That would have been an opportunity to do a big thing. But that was also still not a point in time where TV was getting away with that. Right now, I could absolutely see an American Horror Story type situation where we do seasons of stuff, or that new Stephen King's got a couple of things in development, but he's got that one that we talked about that's coming to Hulu in a couple of months. That, yeah, if they did a season that was basically Salem's Lot, sure. Or if the thing takes place in Salem's Lot, I guess that would make sense as well. But yeah, I would definitely say that this would be something that we could do that with. Right now, people are kind of expecting that epic to be what they're doing with The Dark Tower.
Right.
With movie, TV series, then movie, then another TV series, and so on. Man. So Stephen King's getting the best deal he can. I think one that includes him even getting the cameo, which is nice.
But he in all of his TV movies, he was always in them.
Yeah, I didn't.
Not in this one, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't see him in this one, but he certainly he showed up in Maximum Overdrive, but that's the one he actually directed. He shows up in Creepshow. One of the segments of Creepshow, because it's an anthology, is completely about him, but not as himself, but he's a character in it. He's terrific. This is another reason why you have to see Creepshow, because that whole Stephen King segment is so awesome, and he is so good in it, and he deserved to be like someone that you see in more stuff as an actor, which is hilarious, because I don't think I knew that it was him for a good number of years. The other part of it is that vampire stuff is sort of played out. You know, it's like you were worried about a zombie show coming out because we've got enough zombie stuff already. Another vampire thing right now, I think it's at a point where vampires are not terribly interesting, which is why it's tough that Universal is doing all this stuff to try to make their new Universal Monster franchise happen, because they couldn't make a Dracula film with Dracula Untold work about a year before it. It bombed. It was supposed to be a start of this. So now they do the Mummy thing with Tom Cruise. It frankly bombed. And they're already pushing to get Channing Tatum in line to play Van Helsing. And we know that a Van Helsing film didn't work when Hugh Jackman tried it 10 years ago.
Didn't they do some? Oh, that was I, Frankenstein. Never mind.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be Frankenstein one. There's all these things that are supposed to be happening, and it's just, I don't know that this is the right time for it, because we've had our fill. You know, it's going to take somebody to do something very different. And Twilight, for as much as I like to shit on it, because it kind of deserves to be shit on, at least it was different from what people were seeing from vampires for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And Anne Rice has an interview with a vampire show that's coming out. So we've had the Vampire Diaries and the original spinoff of the Vampire Diaries. We've had True Blood, that new show from Harris that's got vampires and were creatures and all this stuff is starting tonight on NBC, which is, again, just like more True Blood. So I don't think that there's any shortage of this type of thing. That Stephen King's better off if they do a miniseries about Christine and we have a car that kills people than we are seeing Salem's Lot come back. As much as I think Salem's Lot is the better story, maybe it's not right to try to redo it any point soon in the near future.
I feel like bits and pieces of Salem's Lot's story could make the whole better. Does that make sense? Like, just take the vampire portion of this and go for that. I don't know. It's,
if you take it out, then that's Fright Night,
and that's kind of why I stopped talking.
I mean,
it's like, if you take out the things that make Salem's Lot super fucking long and kind of boring, then it's something else.
Yeah, which is not to say that Fright Night's not great, because Fright Night is absolutely great.
It's okay.
It was very good at the time. It was a very impressive movie, and it's fun to watch. And it's got Marcy from Married with Children in it.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know.
I've said my piece.
Yeah, when I watch things like Pet Sematary, there's the whole story with the guy who's dead who keeps trying to talk to the dad and trying to convince him not to bring his kid back to life, and he tries to yell at the wife to not go into the house when the kid's in there killing people and everything. I'm interested in the weird outer stories on Stephen King stuff often more than I am the main story.
Well, this was one of his first. It's not one of his first books, is it?
It's still early for him. I mean, it's before we see him get to his real stride when people saw him as the master of horror.
Right. Point being is the shit didn't get weird until later.
I think it just didn't get weird enough. I would have.
It didn't get as weird as we're used to it being. Is that Is that better? Okay.
No, absolutely. It's ramen packets versus like actual ramen that you get from a ramen restaurant.
I get that reference because I'm fat.
It's all the taste and everything that you expect to be there, but it's not all the special shit that makes it really good and amazing. It's just not enough ingredients. It's just a very basic, bland kind of meal. You can live off of it, but it tastes like shit.
I'm trying to find his biblioteca. Salem's Lot was the second book. Carrie was the first. Shining was the third, which is kind of impressive. Well, Carrie and Salem's Lot are like kind of straight up horror movies. The Shining as well. The Stand was his fourth one. That's where stuff started to get weird.
That's when he started doing epic fantasy as horror, which is cool. And that's in his wheelhouse. But it's also when he's like, yeah, I can write 3,000 pages and people just fucking read it at this point. Or maybe it was still a chance right then. Maybe it was not quite there yet. But Carrie, I think, works best out of those examples because it's a straightforward story and it doesn't try to be bigger than what it is, but it is still full and rich and the characters are well developed. And I'm mostly comparing it from the movie. I think the movie was really well done. But you get everything that you need and it feels real and it kind of, you feel empathy for the character and at the same time you feel that tug of like, I want revenge too, and all that makes sense. And in this, I don't know that there's a character that I really identified with in this. The kid who's the horror movie fan who winds up being friends with Mears and is the first one to sort of try to beat back the vampires when his friends start showing up and trying to bite him. I guess he was maybe supposed to be our entry point, or maybe Mears himself was supposed to be the entry point, but neither of them did enough to be that for me. Who were you supposed to identify with? Or was it just that you were supposed to experience fear of vampires?
Maybe, I don't know.
That's I think part of what we're missing in this too. And I mean, Toby Hooper had just done Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't have a lot of people that you identify with either. All those kids were annoying and you wanted to see them get fucking hacked to bits. Including the one guy that you're supposed to feel bad for because he's in the wheelchair and it's like, oh, I just can't help it. Well, yeah, but he's still a dick. You know, I just don't like the guy. You know, just fucking take him down a peg. Just eat a little bit of him. Just eat a little bit of him, Leatherface. You can do that. It's all right.
Hey, Corey.
Just nip.
You're getting a little bent out of shape there, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's calm it down. Let's calm it down. Let's cool it off. And let's go to the Fab Cave. I really put a lot of thought into that one. Lost it there.
I want you to sing Fab Cave every time.
Let's go to the Fab Cave. Hit some high notes. I'd hit high notes, but it's kind of late here. My wife's in bed. I don't want to wake up the dogs. That's a whole thing.
And it's obviously it's after dark, so it's past her curfew because she's 10.
Yeah, you know, anyone under the age of 16 has got to be home by dark. So we all know she's home because it's dark out. It makes me sound like a pedophile. My wife is she's at least 30 years old. I swear.
Strangely convincing though.
There are some times when I'm joking with her about how young she looks, and I wonder if she's just been lying to me for 10 years.
So since she was 6?
God damn it, Corey. You're not helping. Well, oh man, I've broken so many laws if she's under the age of 18.
Worth it. So
just, all right.
If you're not familiar with our FAP scale, because it's just going to get better if we go right from that conversation to, hey, we rate things by comparing them to masturbation. It's based off of 3 criteria: feature, attention, and panic, like a child tied up in your basement.
She's in our bed. She's not tied up in the basement.
Where's your bed?
Down the hall. It's not in the basement. Till next week. Next week is in the basement.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Fuck. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so features the first one. I'm so tired and kind of drunk. Features the story. Was it interesting? How was the acting? Corey, 0 to 5.
Man, the actors in this were so good. The acting was just okay. It was not their best work for any of them. They were far better than what this script required of them, I think. But they all brought the goods. The story, unfortunately, was middling to mediocre. So I can't go higher than a 1.5.
I mean, I give it a 2 mostly because if 2.5 is mediocre, I'm reading the comments in the chat and it's throwing me off. The story wasn't terribly great. The acting was very mediocre. The story, the vampires portion of the story was good. Everything else sucked. So I just kind of leveled it off to a 2.
You know, I'm going to match you in the 2 because, again, I have to keep in mind this came out in '79 before I'd seen movies like Lost Boys and Fright Night, and that steals away in a way that's not really fair to this film.
I'll give you that. Next up, we have the attention. This is going to be your rewatchability. Would you purchase it? Would you recommend it to your friends? Corey.
The only reason I'm going to say 2 is because for 30 plus years, that goddamn scene at the bedroom window has stuck with me. Otherwise, and that's why I wanted to watch it again. That's why I thought it was going to be great. It's a lot to put on that one scene, and the rest of it, it's okay. But you really have to be in the right mood, and you really have to want to watch it because it is long, and it is not something that gets better as it goes along. It gets gradually dull.
You said 4, right?
I said 2.
Oh, 2. Oh, Jesus.
I'm not giving it a 4. Fuck that.
See, I gave it a 4.
You gave it a 4 on attention?
Yeah, I really gave it a ton of points based on the fact that it came out in the late 70s and how creepy the kids as vampires looked. I also thought it was kind of neat. I mean, given the time, there wasn't a ton of violence in movies, so when the kids bit the necks, it just like zoomed in on them and stopped. Like I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I can give up to a 2, but I can't go past that. I can't.
Well, I've already said I've given it a 4. I'm too lazy to go in there and change it, so it's staying with a 4.
If only Google Docs were editable. Why do you have to get whiteout on the internet?
I want to change my mind.
You want to lift your hand from your crotch. I understand how it is.
Hand check. The last one we have is Panic. It's going to be your scariness. How are the effects? Were you surprised?
Oh shit! That's what I should have waited the last one on.
Did you put?
Well, I'm not going to change it now. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3 because it actually, like I said, it was scary in that regard. The design for the head vampire was certainly based off of Nosferatu. Looks great in the poster. Looks okay in the movie.
Yeah, the stills. When looking for pictures to post for the show page, all the stills look fucking terrible.
Yeah,
but everything, all the promotional stuff, it looks really good. I give it a 2. I mean,
just kind of remember the vampire movie that Dave made us watch that was also made for TV.
Which one?
I don't recall. It was
Grave of the Vampire.
Yeah. Oh shit.
It could have just been fucking dog shit, and I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, that thing. The fact that thing existed means that this automatically has to land over a 2 on every category.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Fucking Dave.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity to be on your network, Dave.
I know, and that's why it's like I can't really say anything.
Yeah, I know.
Dave Nelson is a sweetheart. Good old Dave Nelson.
Dad.
My dad. I miss my dad. Dad got a job. He's never home. I don't have a weekend dad anymore.
He went out for cigarettes, and then all of a sudden he was in Canada. I guess that's where you get Newports.
That's awesome. You can contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966. Email us at pot@gncast.com, or you can leave the show a message on our website. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and the Instagrams at Podcast Terror. And you can subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any of your favorite podcatchers. You can leave us feedback. Please leave us feedback. I want to read your feedback on the internet in whatever voice I think you might sound like. People don't leave us feedback. It makes me sad. I check literally every day because I'm a lonely, lonely old man.
My computer did an update of iTunes today, and I just cursed endlessly that I had to install it to be able to rate some of my favorite podcasts. It's worth it to rate them, which means you could do the same for us. But I understand if iTunes is a bane on your existence, go to Google Play and rate us.
I don't know.
You can do that from your browser. You don't have to install shit.
All right. You start reading this. I'm going to go on Google Play, and I'm going to see if anyone rated us on Google Play.
No, I'm sure no one's rated us on Google Play.
I'm sure they haven't either, but we're going to give people the benefit of the doubt that someone out there, Podcast of Terror, I don't even know how to use Google Play.
But, it's just as easy as what you already said. You can email us at pot@gncast.com, or you can leave us a voicemail. We've never gotten a voicemail for the show. And I feel like even if it was just heavy breathing, and it could be just someone having an asthma attack, it could be me.
It's someone who meant to call 911, accidentally called our voicemail number, left a voicemail.
What a horrible misdial.
Yeah, like I don't know how you go from 911 to an 805 number, but
it's just Dave in Canada just sucking on those fucking menthol cigarettes. Just mon ami. I assume that he's in.
just eating poutine, drinking wine, and going mon ami.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only French word I know. Oh, oui, oui.
Oui,
French fries. That's probably French.
Surrender. Oh wait, no, that's rude.
Wow. Oh man, how do I find podcasts on Google Play? We can't end this until I find out if anyone left us.
God damn it. In the meanwhile, all subscription options. These are your options, people. This is all you have. You can find them at gncast.com/subscribe. And you can also join our Facebook page under the Galactic Network, or Podcast of Terror has its own Facebook page as well. We love to have you guys be a part of the things that we do, hang out with us, chill, make fun of us. It's okay. You know, we're fat hipsters.
Fucking all right. I gotta point this one out because I was so growly in the chat. Just man, I cannot appreciate this enough. It just says, "Do it too small, do it slowly," and that's from. Do you know what movie that's from?
No.
True Lies.
Oh god!
When fucking Arnold is sitting in the chair and
he's got the recorder and he's
she's dancing all sexy and she's got her tiggle bitties out. Man, if I knew she wasn't born with a dick, I'd do her.
You would. First of all, the dick is not the game changer for you at all.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. I still probably.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, you aspire. Wait.
That's never butt. Oh, finally found it on Google. You got to go to Google Play Music.
Yes.
Just Google Play. How do I see if no one ever fucking reviewed us?
I don't know, man.
How do I use the internet?
Well, first of all, it's a series of tubes. So what you have to do is stick your dick in it. And then the pressure will just build up. And it'll blow your asshole out.
If you don't know how to use something, just put your dick in it.
Yep. That explains why we're both IT.
Yeah, right. Oh, your computer doesn't work? Let me just put my dick in it.
My Commodore 64 had a joystick port. That was the good old days. It knew exactly what it was doing. And then it made it in, out, and totally screwed everything up.
Just gonna put my dick in it. I don't know how to use Google Play.
Oh, no.
Someone tell me how to use Google Play. Anyways, that's going to do it for another episode of the Podcast Today. We will talk to you guys next week. So somewhere around 45 minutes, the fucking Adobe shit the bed, stopped recording.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I got to stop YouTube so that I can download the video and then put it in
the
audio. So I'm going to do this episode is not coming out on time. It'll come out later tomorrow morning. But
this episode was comedy gold.
Oh no, it was good. It was great. I thought the episode was good. It's going to take me more time than I want to stay awake for.
Yeah, you can see that we are reaching that point where we need a break.
I'm so fucking tired. All right. Growly, Ashley, the 2-3 other people that were watching, thank you very much. Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you, guys. Now I get to read your chats.
Do you want me to not stop YouTube so you can answer them?
No, you can, because I've got it up in a pop out.
Oh, yeah, you popped it out, bitch. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.